History. The news and the internet are filled with some heinous crime stories involving close relations murder stories. Always shock a person more than other crimes. And if the murder involves a partner killing another, then the story gets even more horrifying. The story of Jennifer and Abby. Black is one such story, and the person at the center of this story was none other than Jennifer's husband, Michael Black. So what happened to Jennifer Black and her daughter Abby? Where did they go? And how? Was Michael Black involved in all this? Watch this story until the end to find out the answers to all these questions, in some of the most horrific details of a crime that sent shockwaves across the nation. Jennifer grew up in Oklahoma and was raised by a single mother and also had a brother named David. Although from a humble background, Jennifer had a good childhood. She completed high school and went on to study business at San Diego National University. Her friends described her as a very sweet woman. One thing very dear and important to Jennifer was her faith. Whenever she thought about marriage, the first quality of a good husband that came to her mind was his attachment to religion. She wanted to spend her life with a good Christian man. Unfortunately, her husband would be the exact opposite of who Jennifer wanted to marry. Jennifer met 25-year-old Michael Black at a party in 1988. He was a helicopter pilot in the U.S. Navy and was stationed in San Diego. Those days, Michael was brought up in a family that moved a lot because his father was a colonel in the Air Force. He was an incredibly well-behaved child and was extremely intelligent and hardworking. He always got good grades in school and excelled in co-curricular activities. Michael was so smart that he got into the Governor's Honor Program and went to Georgia Tech to study nuclear engineering. During his degree, Michael enlisted in the Navy so he could afford college and complete his higher studies. Jennifer was quickly drawn into him because he seemed to place the same emphasis on faith as she did. The two started meeting frequently, and Michael appeared to be a great family man to Jennifer, who she thought would provide for her and their kids. Jennifer and Michael got married in 1991. While it was Jennifer's first marriage, Michael had already been in a marriage before, but it had lasted only a year, and he parted ways with his first wife after some time. Michael Black retired from the Navy and started a career as an engineer. The Black family moved to Simpsonville, South Carolina, and welcomed a baby girl into their home who was named Abby. Jennifer loved being in Simpsonville. The Black family made new friends through their church, and Jennifer started teaching a woman's Bible study group. Michael also became a co-teacher at the Bible school. Jennifer had found a strong and take-charge person in Michael, which she loved. He was very caring and protective of her. However, according to Jennifer's friends, her behavior suggested otherwise. At some occasions, she would get nervous and often panicked as Michael's time to return home came close. Jennifer always focused on keeping the house in perfect condition so Michael could have a good environment when he came back from work. Despite all this, the Black family seemed happy, and Jennifer was really loving being in Simpsonville. But then Michael found a new job as operations manager in a manufacturing plant in Grand Junction, Colorado. Jennifer didn't want to leave her happy routine in Simpsonville, but she had to because she also wanted to be a dutiful wife to Michael. Things took a complete turn after the Black family moved to Grand Junction. Jennifer started seeming unhappy, and one could easily tell something was wrong in her personal life. The year was 2001 when the Black family moved to Colorado. Jennifer was 34 years old, and Abby was just 6 when the family moved to their new home. Just a few months into their new home, an incident happened that shocked the whole community in Grand Junction. On November 13, 2001, Michael Black left for work early in the morning. This is his normal routine. He would leave early and come back in the evening. Because of his protective nature, he would call his wife multiple times throughout the day to check if she and his daughter Abby were okay. But on this particular day, when he called home after reaching the office, no one picked up the phone. It was quite strange since Jennifer always answered Michael's calls. He waited a while for Jennifer's call before calling his home number again to check on her again. No one picked it up, worried about the safety of Jennifer and Abby. Michael left a voicemail saying, "Man, where are you guys? Hope everything's going okay. I love you guys." When there was no response or news of Jennifer and Abby after a few hours of trying to contact them, Michael decided to leave the office early. and go check on his family. As soon as he got home, he called 911 and reported that both his wife and daughter were missing. He also told the operate that there was blood all over the master bedroom of their house. The law enforcement authorities rushed to Michael's home. When the police officers entered the couple's bedroom, they found a huge amount of blood spilled in it. The jewelry box was also tipped upside down in the bedroom, and Jennifer's purse was dumped on the floor with its contents spread throughout the room, initially believed to be a kidnapping case. The officers quickly changed their minds because of the blood quantity they found in the bedroom. Kidnappings don't have a large amount of blood on the crime scene, so the authorities knew there was another aspect to this story. Other than the amount of blood, its placement was also strange. The blood was only on the bed. The walls in the hallway were absolutely clean. There weren't any drag marks in the house. Either while the investigation team was looking for a murderer, Michael appeared to believe his wife and daughter had been kidnapped and were still alive. He even requested the public for help in returning his family and posted a reward for $2,000 for anyone who gave information about Jennifer and Abby. The Colorado River became the center point of the investigation, as police believed the victims' bodies might have been dumped in the area, while the investigators were searching the areas. Near the Colorado River, forensic experts were working inside the Black home to find any clues that might lead the authorities to Jennifer and Abby. According to the people in the neighborhood, the last they had seen the victims alive was a day earlier when Jennifer came back home after picking up Abby from school. As forensic experts examined different parts of the house, they found blood in the family van. This was the point when Michael turned from a grieving husband and father to a suspect in a double homicide case, but when he was interviewed, he said he didn't know anything about where Jennifer and Abby had gone. "I haven't got a clue who would have any malice in their heart against anyone in our family. Abby is a wonderful girl." He also gave the investigators a timeline leading into the incident. According to Michael, a day before his family went missing. Abby went to bed at her usual time at 7 p.m., but both he and Jennifer stayed up late as they normally would. Then around 8 p.m., Jennifer got a call from one of her friends who invited her to lunch the next day. Jennifer accepted the invitation and planned to meet up with her friend before going to bed with her husband around 10 p.m. Michael then told the officers about the day of the incident. As per his account, he woke up around 5:30 a.m. on November 13, 2001 to go to work. Both his wife and daughter were still asleep because their wake-up time was around 6:30 a.m. Normally, Michael said that he used to call Jennifer multiple times throughout the day to check in on her. He did the same on November 13th as well, but she didn't answer his calls initially. He didn't think anything could be wrong, but after a few hours he grew suspicious and went home from work. And that's when he discovered his wife and daughter were missing. But someone knew that November 13th would be an unusual day in Jennifer and Abby's lives, because Abby's school received a call on November 12th, and the caller informed the administration that she would not be coming to school the next day, although the school didn't know the identity of the person. They did have the record saying Abby would be missing school on November 13th. Besides the voice notes mentioned earlier in the video, other voice notes were also found, one of them saying, "Hello, my beautiful bride. I hope you're out and about doing all kinds of cool and nifty things." Michael maintained his religious persona. "In front of authorities through the strength of the Holy Spirit, I am able to be sitting here in front of you right now. Every fiber, every corner of my body wants to scream out and shout and grab somebody by the neck and say, 'You did it,' and tear them limb from limb. We were talking about the two most important people in my life are missing right now." As the investigation expanded, the officers strongly started to believe that Michael had something to do with the disappearance of Jennifer and Abby. Michael, on the other hand, was constantly denying that and even started criticizing the police for considering him a suspect in the case. Michael told the press that it bothered him that he was being looked into, despite the fact that he had lost his wife and daughter a month after Jennifer and Abby's disappearance. Michael Black moved out of the family home. He said it was too hard to stay in the house where he lost his wife and daughter, while investigators did their job. Michael kept making frequent appearances in the media, saying he believed this was a case of burglary gone wrong. "I've got some great hopes that we're going to find something out, like you said. Somebody knows something. I've certainly had many a time where I've just been completely out of control, but I've also spent a lot of time in my Bible, and the Lord has given me a peace about this." Michael even bought Christmas presents for Jennifer and Abby. and told everyone that he hoped they would be home soon to open them. People were sympathetic towards Michael Black because he wasn't only grieving the loss of his family, but he was also looked into as their possible killer. However, police and some of Jennifer's friends knew Michael had something to do with his wife and daughter's disappearance. As time passed, the suspicion grew stronger because of new evidence and witnesses. But Michael kept insisting he was innocent. He initially denied any fight with Jennifer before she and Abby disappeared, but the investigators later found a note in which Michael had apologized to Jennifer for letting the devil get a foothold in their lives. But that wasn't as strange as the next thing that was found during the Black House: thousands of pornography images. Upon asking Michael about them, he said that Jennifer downloaded these images for educational purposes because she wanted to be a good wife and serve her husband, Eddie Melson. One of Jennifer's friends also gave the police some odd pieces of information according to Melson's accounts right before Jennifer and Abby went missing. Jennifer called her and asked if they both could visit her. She also told Melson that Michael would not be with them. This was strange to Melson because she knew the Black family always traveled together. In February 2002, Michael was found stealing a shredder and a table from his office. He was brought in to be asked about the theft he had committed. While answering the questions by the investigators, Michael Black kept asking them about the possible penalties for murder. This was again very strange coming from someone whose wife and daughter had disappeared a few months ago. Investigators now had all their information on Michael and were trying to crack him under questioning. One day when the officers rang Michael's bell, no one opened the door. They could hear the sound of running water coming out of the house, but no one was responding to the knocks on the door, suspecting something was wrong. The police kicked the door open when they entered the bathroom. Michael was lying in the back bathtub with his wrist cut. There was also a photo of Jennifer and Abby with him and a note saying that he didn't kill his wife or daughter. He was quickly taken to the hospital and was given medical care due to the harsh winters in Colorado. The search operation was halted till spring. After the initial attempts, the search resumed in April. The investigators marked a 45-kilometer radius for the search operation but couldn't find any clue of Jennifer or Abby's bodies in the meantime. One of Michael's co-workers called the police release and shared an important tip on the day of Jennifer and Abby's disappearance. Michael's colleague saw him taking the trash out at work. Michael was pushing a pallet jack with 2 large cardboard boxes, which he discarded on the loading dock that went to the trash compactor. The co-worker, unaware of the contents of the trash, even asked Michael if he needed any help with discarding the trash. A person discarding normal trash would have said yes. But Michael Black immediately declined the offer because he knew it wasn't any normal trash. It was unusual for a person who was working as an engineer in the company and had nothing to do with trash handling. This was an important lead that could take the authorities to Jennifer and Abby's bodies. The first task was locating the landfill where Michael's firm was dumping their trash once the landfill site was tracked. The task was the most difficult of everything the police had to do until that point. Locate the possible places in the landfill where trash from Michael's company might have ended up. When this development was revealed to the public, a normal person would have been happy that the case of his wife and daughter's disappearance was nearing closure. But Michael did something exactly the opposite. He left the state. What's even more strange was that he told no one, including the police, about his plan and where he was going nearly 7 months. After the disappearance of Michael's wife and daughter was reported, authorities found what they had been looking for. After weeks of searching, on June 5, 2002, the authorities found Jennifer Black's body in the landfill. She was wrapped up in a red and black tint. The body was unwrapped, cleaned, and sent for an autopsy. When the autopsy report came, it shocked everyone, including Jennifer's family and friends. Jennifer Black had been shot in the left eye, and the bullet was still inside her skull. The report also revealed that she was killed in her sleep because the investigators found a retainer in her mouth that she only wore when going to bed after finding Jennifer's body. The investigators knew that Abby Black's body must also have been dumped into the same landfill. A new wave of searches began with more force to find Abby Black's body. However, the police couldn't find Abby's body. Even after 7 weeks of searching, the authorities looked through roughly 7 tons of trash in search of Abby's body. But they knew exactly whom they had to take into custody. Now Michael Black police had a possible reason to arrest Michael. But there was a problem. No one knew where he was after some searching. It was discovered that Michael Black's mother lived in Georgia, so it was possible that he was hiding at her place. The guess came out to be true, because Michael Black was at his mother's house. When the police went to search it, he was immediately arrested and brought back to Colorado to face the charges of his wife and daughter's murder. This was the first time that the public knew that the person pretending to be a grieving husband and father was his family's killer. By this time, Michael Black's first wife had also come to the fore, giving statements in the media that Michael was a completely normal guy and had never abused her while they were together. But as the investigation progressed, it was found that the Black family wasn't as perfect as it seemed from the outside from the very beginning. Jennifer and Michael had some disagreements, and they often engaged in arguments after marrying Michael. Jennifer realized that her husband wasn't the religious person she thought he was. Michael Black would go to parties which Jennifer didn't like, because of her religious upbringing, after repeated requests by Jennifer to stop doing what she thought was unethical. Michael Black's wife eventually asked him to choose between her and his inappropriate habits. Michael assured her he had given up his old habits and their relationship became normal. This was also the time when Abby was born. However, Michael was still in the Navy and didn't give much time to Jennifer, which led her into postpartum depression after Abby's birth. When Michael left the U.S. Navy and began teaching at a Sunday school, Jennifer discovered something new about her husband. He had started talking inappropriately to the kids. In fact, he was preaching his own conservative beliefs by talking about abortion and sexuality. As a result, Michael was fired from his job. This also resulted in financial problems for the Black family, who were already there because their previous house wasn't selling. And when it finally did, they lost more than $8,000. Jennifer often called her friends in Simpsonville and told them she wasn't happy living in Grand Junction, but she also used to say that since Michael was happy about his job, she was willing to stay in Colorado as a beautiful wife, while the police were trying to make Michael share the motive of his murders. A worker at a legal firm came forward and told authorities that Jennifer had come to the firm a few days before her disappearance. She was quite disturbed and wanted to talk to an attorney. It was later discovered that Jennifer was being abused by Michael and wanted a divorce from her husband. A further look into Michael's computer revealed that he frequently used an escort service upon interviewing the workers. Of the escort service, it was found that Michael Black frequently visited them and used to get massages from topless women. When the investigators asked Michael about it, he said his wife knew about it because the couple was having sexual problems at home, so he went to the massage center for the sake of research. But it was soon discovered that Michael wasn't only addicted to explicit practices and websites, but he also forced Jennifer to watch it with him. This clarified why Jennifer wanted separation from Michael Black. Her diary showed an extremely religious woman constantly praying and working on a relationship with God. The investigators also found a note in one of Jennifer's books in which she had written about a recent fight with her husband. All the witness statements and evidence against Michael Black made one thing clear. As daylight, he was abusive towards his wife and constantly forced her to do things she didn't want to do. When she refused, he decided to kill to protect his secret life and addictions. This also explained the disappearance of Abby Black. According to the investigators, she probably saw her father killing her mother. So Michael killed his daughter too, since there was no concrete proof that it was Michael Black who killed Jennifer and Abby. The prosecution decided against seeking the death penalty for the accused. Michael Black was even released on bond to live with his mother while awaiting trial in March 2004. Michael Black's trial began, and he was charged with first-degree murder. The prosecution told the jury that Michael Black killed his wife because she wanted a divorce from him. He then wrapped the bodies of both Jennifer and Abby, took them to his job, and dumped them there. Michael then acted normal and called his home multiple times as he normally would. Michael Black even left a few messages in the voicemail to make it look like he was completely unaware of what had happened to his wife and daughter. This is why he called the police on November 13th, so the authorities considered it a case of home invasion. Jennifer's mother told the jury that Michael Black had abused her daughter multiple times during their marriage and even choked her once while he was drunk. The defense attorney argued that a predator broke into the Black home and killed Jennifer and Abby. When they resisted throughout the trial, Michael Black maintained that he was not guilty and had nothing to do with his wife and daughter's murder on April 16, 2004. The jury found Michael Black guilty of murdering his wife and daughter, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But the case saw a new turn when 10 years after the conviction the verdict was overturned because one of the jurors in Michael Black's case had lied about their domestic violence history in the juror questionnaire. As a result, Michael Flagg was granted a retrial. However, the Colorado Supreme Court granted the prosecutors an emergency stay to keep Michael Black in prison while he awaited the retrial. Michael Black's retrial began in February 2018, and his attorneys brought in new evidence in a try to get him acquitted. The defense also tried to dispute the investigation method followed. In Michael Black's case, however, Michael Black was once again found guilty of killing his wife and daughter, and given the same sentence as before, life imprisonment, marking the end of a heinous crime case.